the ancient Egyptian demon, Apep. Apep was an ancient Egyptian deity who embodied chaos, and was thus the opponent of light and ma'at, order and truth. He appears in art as a giant serpent. Apep was first mentioned in the 8th dynasty, and he was honored in the names of the 14th dynasty king, Apepi, and the greater Hyksos king, Apophis. Ra was the solar deity, a bringer of light, and thus the upholder of Ma'at. Apep was viewed as the greatest enemy of Ra, and also as the Lord of Chaos. Apep was seen as a giant snake or serpent, leading to such titles as Serpent from the Nile and Evil Dragon. Some elaborations said that he stretched 16 yards, and had a head made of flint. On a Naquada eye, 4000 BC seaware bowl, now in Cairo, a snake was painted on the inside rim, combined with other desert and aquatic animals, as a possible enemy of a deity, possibly a solar deity, who is invisibly hunting in a big rowing vessel. While in most texts Apep is described as a giant snake, he is sometimes depicted as a crocodile. The few descriptions of Apep's origin in myth usually demonstrate that it was born after Ra, usually from his umbilical cord, combined with its absence from Egyptian creation myths. This has been interpreted as suggesting that Apep was not a primordial Egyptian force in theology, but a consequence of Ra's birth. This suggests that evil, in Egyptian theology, is the consequence of an individual's own struggle against non-existence, but also that Apep is Ra's darker side. I would call them twin brothers, but they appear to be one in the same. The tales of Apep's battles against Ra were elaborated during the New Kingdom. Storytellers said that every day Apep must lie just below the horizon. This appropriately made him part of the underworld. In some stories, Apep waited for Ra in the western mountain called Paku, where the sun sets. In others, Apep lurked just before the dawn, in the 10th region of the night, which is 1 and O, which is symbolic. The wide range of Apep's possible locations gained him the title World Encircler. It was thought that his terrifying roar would cause the underworld to rumble. The tales sometimes say that Apep was trapped there because he had been the previous chief god overthrown by Ra, or because he was evil and had to be imprisoned. The coffin texts imply that Apep used a magical gaze to overwhelm Ra and his entourage. Ra was aided by a number of defenders who traveled with him, including Set and possibly the Eye of Ra. Apep's movements were thought to cause earthquakes, and his battles with Set may have been meant to explain the origin of thunderstorms. In one account, Ra himself defeats Apep in the form of a cat. And what few accounts there are of Apep's origin it is usually described as being born from Ra's umbilical cord. Ra's victory every night was thought to be ensured by the prayers of the Egyptian priests and worshippers of the temples. The Egyptians practiced a number of rituals and superstitions that were thought to ward off Apep and aid Ra in continuing his journey across the sky. In an annual rite called the Banishing of Chaos, priests would build an effigy of Apep that was thought to contain all the evil and darkness in Egypt, and burn it to protect everyone from Apep's evil for another year. The Egyptian priests had a detailed guide in fighting Apep, referred to as the Book of Overthrowing Apep, or the Book of Apophis in Greek. The chapters described a gradual process of dismemberment and disposal. In addition to stories about Ra's victories, the guide had instructions for creating wax models, or small drawings of the serpent, which would be spat on, mutilated, and burned, while reciting spells that would kill Apep, fearing that even the image of Apep could give power to this demon. Any rendering would always include another deity to subdue the monster. In the world of duality, they would be one in the same. As above, so below. This would be the same forwards as back. Apep was thought to live in the underworld. He was sometimes thought of as the eater of souls. Thus, the dead also needed protection, so they were sometimes buried with spells that could destroy Apep. The Book of the Dead does not frequently describe occasions when Ra defeated the chaos snake explicitly called Apep. Only the Book of the Dead spells 7 and 39 can explain such. So the origin of Apep is actually the Book of the Dead, written by Thoth, the non-divining point between the two. It's all about balance. Please hit that notification bell to ensure that you are notified of each upload. Share, like, comment and subscribe for more Mythology 7 documentaries.